All right, well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I'm your host once again, Dan Thornton. I want to thank you all for coming today, Friday, Lions Talk Live. Hey, we're one day close to the draft. We're one day closer to really kind of seeing what this team's final roster potentially is going to look like when we get through all the cuts and everything in preseason. And you know what? We've talked about it for several days now. The Lions are deep. They are crazy deep across the board. But as you can see from today's thumbnail, could they look to add more? Could it be a cornerback? Could it be a defensive tackle? Offensive line? Heck, I think everything is on the board for Detroit. As we talked about on the late show last night, Lions are going to get back roughly, once the NFL approves it, $10.5 million for salary cap. That's going to put them right around $27 million. You figure they're going to keep around, $12 million of that available for the draft picks, plus also in-season signings if needed, just so they have some flexibility. If there's a ton of injuries at one position, they need to sign somebody. You get it. They need to keep some money available at all times. But with that also being said, they're going to have a pretty good chunk of change should they desire to go out and sign somebody. And who knows? I came up with a little bit of a list as far as still available free agents. Let's see what you guys think of it. Should the Lions look to still add someone? Are they just in it to win it this year? And potentially for a couple years, I guess we could say. But before we get going into today's show, a few things just real quick. As you always know, if you haven't subscribed to Lions Talk Live, please consider doing so. We're coming up on 6,200. We need 12 more subs. So if you're watching and you haven't subbed, and if you would be so kind, please consider subscribing. Also, if you're enjoying the content of the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. Last but never least, just because I like to be able to buy delicious Mountain Dew as well. If you're looking to buy or sell property anywhere in the great state of Michigan, feel free to give me a call or shoot me a text. Get a hold of me any way you'd like. If you want somebody who's been in the industry for multiple decades, since the early 90s, go ahead and contact me, and I'll try to find ways to help you save some money, negotiate contracts on your behalf, try to make sure that we do everything we can to put you in as an advantageous situation as possible. That's either on the purchase or sale of property anywhere in the great state of Michigan. And you know what? I'd love to work for you. So give me a call. I know a number of you guys actually have, and I'm proud to work for you guys. If you're outside the state of Michigan, you can still contact me. I'm just going to have to do things a little bit differently, but I can still answer questions, point you in the right direction, and try to give you some good assistance. All right, so let's go ahead and get going into today's episode of Lions Talk Live. Got a couple of people that, I try to get as updated the list as possible. Last time this list was updated was March 20th at 1 p.m., so I do believe most of these players are still available. Could it be that the Lions look to add another safety? Justin Simmons is available. Cornerback, there's a number of them out there. I know we talk regularly about Stephon Gilmore. I get he's 34, but you know what? He can play. He has maintained himself pretty well. He's still producing at a high level, so that's a possibility. Giovanni and Clowney, oh boy, I always kill his first name. Sorry about that, guys, but you get it. Could he come in and be an opposite of Aiden Hutchinson? He could be, but I also don't think the Lions are going to go in that direction. Quandre Diggs, I know we've talked about that for a hot minute now. Former Lion, very endeared by the fan base. Could they look to bring him home? Absolutely. Julian Blackmon, another safety, could be a possibility. Here's one that I don't think would be a strong possibility, but maybe on the right price, maybe just for more depth. Xavier Howard, we get he's a physical corner, really likes to press, something Lions like to do, get up and get in people's faces. Although last year was not perhaps his best season ever, so I do question if that would be a possibility. The one that really intrigues me is Travarius White, the two-time Pro Bowler. He's 29 years old. I think most of you know he was cut by the Buffalo Bills. His 2023 season was cut a little bit short due to a torn Achilles, so he'd be coming back off that injury. My guess is, not to make jokes, but that's kind of a brand home signing, because you can get somebody with a lot of potential upside, but they're coming off an injury, so they're not going to be able to command the top dollar. You might be able to get them on a little bit cheaper contract. Giants, Adoree Jackson started 36 games last year. Is he a possibility? But the one advantage with him is he also is a return man, so he's good in punt and kickoff returns. All right, I won't go through the entire list, but you guys get the gist. There's quite a few guys across the board. I mean, you could still go after, some defensive linemen like Calais Campbell. I get he's been in the league for about 1 billion years, but could he be more depth? He is 37 years old, so I'm thinking he's probably not a strong option, but he is available. All right, let's see what you guys have to say about this and probably many other topics. All right, JDC, time to shake the cage. Morning, all. Woo! The first word of the show. And you know what? Good morning to you, too, JDC. Mike the Marine, howdy, Dan, Lions faithful. Happy Friday to all. Same to you, my friend. Trump, good morning, Detroit. All right, there we go. Good morning to you, too. Just say K. Detroit football. Yeah, man, I miss hearing that for the Pistons. It's been a minute since I've heard that. All right, just say Kate, good morning, all back at you. Anthony, good morning. Do Crew, Super Bowl or bust, exclamation points, 100%. And thank you for all you do for the channel there, Anthony. Trump, can we find a new subject other than Cam Sutton? I think we will. I think we'll try to work on some other options and opportunities. All right, Papa Noel, greetings, salutations all. Do we think the team will add another corner now? Question mark. I'm wondering if we address other areas like guard or defensive end. I think here's what I would say. And I know we've talked about this ever since the Sutton situation came up. I'm going to guess the Lions knew about his predicament prior to going to free agency, and that's why they went after multiple cornerbacks. I'll also say that it could be possible that if they really talked to the front office people of the NFL, they went through their due diligence, worked through all the scenarios, probably did have some conversations with people of interest and said, hey, if this does go down, what is the likelihood we recoup Cam Sutton's contract? If that's possible, and the front office representation of the NFL said, yeah, there's a realistic opportunity for that to happen, it might be that, Brad Holmes is playing chess, not checkers. He was moving pieces on the board prior to anything really hitting the news, anything coming out of, Florida as far as the warrant and all that. They said, all right, this is more than likely going to happen. We're going to have to move on, unfortunately, from Cam Sutton. So we need to sign and trade for this player and that player. We also now know that we're anticipating getting that salary back. So when that happens, what do we do with those funds? Do we do anything with those funds? And that's where I do believe all this has been fairly orchestrated by the front office of the Detroit Lions. They probably have anticipated all this since they got wind of it. I'm guessing somewhere around March 7th or 8th, probably no later than the 8th. So you could be onto something with that. Anthony, believe we should go after Gilmore. I know there's a lot of Lions fans who are saying that. I get he's a little bit older. He's in his low to mid 30s. But to be fair to him, he still plays at a pretty high level. I'm not going to say he's going to be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year again, but he plays pretty well. Would be a solid mentor to any of the younger players, maybe players drafted. So I don't think it'd be a bad signing at all. And I think you get him, excuse me, on a pretty good team-friendly contract. All right, Bo, good morning, Duke Crew. Superdome or bust, exclamation point. Draft a cornerback for development. No need for a starter. Still plenty of depth on this room. Yeah, and I agree. The cornerback room looks, at least on paper, and then, of course, some of that is, will Emmanuel Mosley, heal up and be available? But assuming that does come to fruition, there's some good talent out there. There's some good depth out there. And like you say, Bo, if you go out there and then draft one or two corners, probably one's more realistic. You get them up, you get them running. That you've got the players to work with, you got players to develop, and you got depth at the cornerback position, which we all know you probably need that in today's league. So, all right, let's see what they do. All right, Berg time. Good morning, crew and Dan. Back at you, Bergs. Thanks for all you do to assist me and the channel. So thank you exponentially. All right, Jess, what do you got? Greetings and salutations all. I like the idea that Papa Noel, maybe now we can go after another pass rusher or something else. It could be. If we were to spend money on something else, here's the thought: would you re-sign Josh Reynolds just to keep the band back together or whatever? Do you go in a completely different direction? It would be interesting to see what they do because, as we all talked about, the team really doesn't seem to have any glaring holes or needs. They seem to be deep everywhere. There's not really just one big spot where like, man, we really got to fix this spot. There's some definite spots we could upgrade for sure. But I look across free agency and I just see mostly at this point players that would be sound depth on the team. Maybe not anybody that's going to come in and make a big impact right away. But if you guys got somebody in mind you think could make a big impact, let me know. Anthony, yep, we can trump neighbor's wife's a hooker. All right, fair enough. Go with that. All right, Trump, defensive end, offensive line, cornerback, running back, or wide receiver, kicker. All those spots. Yeah, you could add some depth there, some developmental pieces. And I think probably by next week, we're all talking about, no disrespect to Cam Sutton or that situation, but we're probably all now starting to focus more and more on the NFL draft just because we'll only be a couple of weeks away come Monday. So I'm saying I know we'll do the mock draft, their interactive mock draft Sunday. You guys wanted that? Well, that's what we'll go ahead and do. Just keep in mind, I'm going to be doing it remotely from a laptop. I won't have all my equipment. Thumbnails are probably going to be a little different next week too. I'll do the best I can with them, but I'll do what I can with just a laptop. But at any rate, yeah, I think you're spot on with some of those areas we will target. All right, Matthew, greetings and salutations. Good morning, everyone. Super Bowl or bust. Woo! The second move of the show. You know what? Good morning to you too, my friend. Anthony, what do you got? Let's see. Good morning, Duke Crew. Can't wait until the draft. We are getting up on it, and there's still some parts available in free agency. We get that, but I think more and more everybody's going to start turning their speculations from free agency to the draft, as we should, because that's the last layer of additions to this franchise before we take a little bit of a break, about 2 months before we get into free agency and all that. I mean, we'll get OTAs and stuff in there, but it's the last real big noteworthy event until the preseason stuff happens when training camp opens. So I'll say this, man. Speculation is going to run wild what the Lions are going to do because we can go in so many different ways. It's not like we're a quarterback needy team that everybody's fairly certain we're going to draft this player or that player in the first couple of picks. The Lions could go a multitude of different ways. They could add depth to the offensive line or a potential starter, defensive line. There's even been more and more speculation, as we talked about this week, about the Lions going after a wide receiver in the first round. Could that happen? Could it be cornerback? I mean, they would all pretty much make sense, right? So we'll have to wait and see what Brad chooses to do. All right, Clark, greetings, salutations, everyone. Top of the morning to the Duke Crew! Exclamation point, and 100% back at you. Brent, good morning, everyone. Congrats to Oakland University for knocking off the mighty Kentucky Wildcats. Probably got their coach fired. I mean, being a basketball dude, coaching like you guys know, and among other sports, to have Kentucky and Calipari have had this happen, twice in, I want to say 2 years or 4 years, something like that, where they got upset in the first round. I mean, it's not a good look. But, man, watching that game, at least kind of watching that game, Oakland, man, Gorky or however you say his name, that dude was on fire. And I get they kept switching defenders on him. They kept doing stuff on him, just without breaking down all the nuances of how they kept running him off screens. The one thing I didn't get as a basketball coach, they kept having people chase him on the screen. That cat was not wasting any time getting those shots off. If he got a half a foot of separation, that shot was going up. And what he hit, like 10 threes? So there's something in basketball called, when it comes to a screen, hedging a screen or cheating the screen. And basically, if it was me, after probably like the third or fourth or 29th three that he hit, that dude guarding the screener would have been popping out, leaving that screener wide open to deny the three. But that clearly did not happen. And you know what? That's one of the best things about March Madness is you get all these schools that are the David to Goliath. And you know what? Every year it seems to happen. I know there was like 2 or 3 of them that happened last night. So it's part of the fun of it, my friend. And good morning to you too, Brent. JDC, one thing I've learned about being addicted to the internet and social media, I know everything about everything, 100%. Hey, it's great to be humble, man. Nothing wrong with knowing everything. All right, Berg time. I'd give Gilmore a look. He couldn't hurt. No, it couldn't hurt at all. Go ahead and kick the tires on that. Dave, what do you got there? Good morning, all. Coach, say goodbye to Bobby at the Circle K from the Duke Crew. I will do that. The official date for closing for the Circle K I go to is next Wednesday. I will not be able to be there, so this will be my last chance to say goodbye to everybody. So, yeah, as soon as the show's over, I'm heading on over. Going to try to do something nice for Bobby and everybody there before I hit the road and such and get out of here. So it's going to be a sad day, man, because you know what? I've gone to that place for like, God, it's got to be like 20 years. And you get to know everybody, you get to know their families, their stories, their moods, their temperaments. And I will say this, as crazy as it is, I've been to many, many a Circle K. I've been to many, many places, to get a morning dew. There ain't none that tastes better in all the Live Live world than that Millen Road Circle K. So for something about it, man, it just tastes a little different. And yeah, I'm going to miss it dearly. All right, Moonscar, what up, do crew? Exclamation point. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Exclamation point. I believe we will sign another cornerback after the draft, hoping prices drop some. Yeah, and that could be the other part. They who knows when the Lions will get the Sutton's salary back on the books. It's probably not going to happen anytime soon. And like you point out, Moonscar, I mean, the longer the free agency sits around and people sit on the market, not signed, their price tags are only going to go one way because they're competing against each other for any spots that should happen to open up. So you're spot on with that. Mike the Marine, here's an old but new storyline. Cornerback Lattimore couldn't be traded or released until June 1st because huge cap hit due immediately. But, reasonable after. Possibly a Lions trade. You might be onto something there, Mike. I'm going to assume that probably by June 1st. And I just want to say this. Hopefully Cam Sutton, everybody affected, is doing well, does okay. But to your point, with the NFL, we all get they're probably not going to move very quickly with making a judgment ruling on Sutton's contract for the Lions. But let's assume that it probably happened somewhere around June 1st. Could Lattimore be an addition for the Detroit Lions? And I'll say this. I think that would be an outstanding one. He's not what he once was. He's not incredibly old either. But unfortunately for him, 2 straight years of injuries have probably impacted him some. Doesn't mean he can't make a great comeback story and be comeback player of the year or anything like that. But, Mike, I think you're spot on, man. The Lions could potentially get him and might not cost a horrible amount. Brent, what do you got? Thank you, Bobby, for keeping Coach Dude up for us. I'll say that to her. I will say that to her. All right, Malcolm, good morning, crew. I think Holmes and the team knew about the decision all along. Maybe they even planned on Detroit getting Cam's salary return. So my question is, if that's correct, what is Brad Holmes? Oh, wait, looking down. Planning next. That's the $1 million question, right? Did Brad know about it? Did the Detroit Lions, know about this from the jump, from the get-go? I believe yes, they did. I don't have any corroborating evidence of that, and probably never will. It's just you follow the chain of events, how things happen. I'm inclined to believe they did know about it. Now, to your point, I know I mentioned it earlier in the show. If that's all true, then they probably did have some reasonable expectation that Sutton's contract would come back on their books and free up that money. What they're planning next to do with it, if anything, we're all going to have to guess and wait and see. All right, Matthew, if we can get Stephen Gilmore on the team-friendly deal, I think he would help. He has played equally right and left at the corner position the last 4 years, which means he can fill in who needs relief. Yeah, and he's also the type of player that I believe could play some safety too, because he's good in man, he's good in zone. So you could move him like a chess piece across the board. I would also guess, to your point, Matthew, that, yeah, it'd be a pretty team-friendly deal because I don't think a lot of people are going to pay a ton for him due to, unfortunately, his age, etc. All right, Doug, good morning all. Back at you. Eduardo, good luck on the road, Coach. Thank you. Heading out to Detroit and then flying on off to destinations unknown later today. All right, John King, we will add a cornerback for depth, but don't expect anything big. I would agree with that. We're going to be better this year. Quarterbacks are not going to have as much time. We are very good. Nobody has everything. Yeah, no team has it all. But you know what? We're pretty sound across the board, as you point out. Bo, what do you got? I like Marshawn Lattimore. Also gunny. I don't know about the timing issue. Yeah, we'll have to see how things shake out and line up, but it could line up 100%. Eduardo, make for cornerback 2 and develop a rookie. Could be that. Could be 100%. You guys have heard me talk about, I think if Emmanuel Mosley ends up being healthy and ready to go, My guess is Davis is one of the corners, probably your cornerback one. Mosley, cornerback two. Robinson, probably one of the, three or maybe a slot. And then if he's the slot, then you're probably moving Brian Branch to safety, which then would beg the question, who sits out of Iffy and Kirby, but we'll figure that all out in time. Lions fan number one, greetings, salutations, coach. I'm hearing people say we might trade for Max Crosby, ? Any truth, ? I know a couple of you guys brought this up, I'll say like within the last week or so. And I didn't think there was anything to it. But then you do get something, I think that came out yesterday about Max Crosby being asked, and it could be nothing, could be something, who knows. Specifically, if you could play for any team, not the Raiders, who would you play for? And his answer was very blunt, the Lions. And I get it. He's from Detroit, or Michigan, I should say. He played here in college. All those things line up. He grew up being a Lions fan. So could it be possible? Sure. Is there any real solid truth to it? Man, who knows? I just think what you'd have to get up to the Raiders to get Max Crosby, you're probably looking at least 2 firsts, and I just don't see Brad Holmes pulling that trigger. But if he does it, I can tell you this, there'll be a whole lot of Lions Talk Live videos for probably a few days about Max Crosby. How's this impact everything? People will be off the charts, jumping up and down about it, because, man, putting him on that line with DJ, with Aleem, with Aiden, that's a line, and that's a line you do not have a lot of time with. Plus, they'd be sound across the board against the run as well. So that'd be a dang good line. All right, JDC, on the road again. Willie rocks 100%. Yes, be on the road and be back probably here. My anticipation is probably next Friday, so it'll be about a week. All right, Moonscar, I say bring in all those free agent corners at once. Let them have a little competition, LOL. Detroit, the destination, not the consolation. Yeah, I agree. And good point. Detroit has become a destination for free agents. It's crazy thinking that, because it used to be just where people tried to get one more contract and end their career. Now people are saying, hey, I'm going to leave the Baltimore Ravens, go to Detroit Lions because I want a chance to win a Super Bowl. Let that sink in. All right, Brent at corner is cornerback at 29 back on the table now? I think it is, man. And the more we talk about everything that's gone down in the last 48 hours with Sutton, I don't really think it's going to change the draft for Detroit Lions. I think they've addressed everything ahead of time. They knew about it. That's why we went and got 2 corners. I guess you could say 3 with resigning Mosley. I think they've done all this in a very calculated fashion. So has the draft changed for us? Probably not. If they were going to take corner, if the right one fell to us at 29 before all this went down, I think they're still doing it now, just like I think it's the right offensive lineman, defensive lineman, wide receiver, whatever it is. If the right player's there at 29, I don't think anything's going to change. All right, Trump, if we go cornerback, please draft a tall one. Yeah, and I know there's a few available around 6'1", a couple of them at 6'3", and a few in between. So I think, yeah, you're trying to probably, if you go corner, you're probably trying to get someone who's going to be on one of the outside corners. Quentin, greetings, salutations, y'all. Coach D, have a good trip, man. You earned it. Well, thanks for that, man. And hopefully we'll have a good trip, good safe trip. Have a little bit of fun. It's gonna be a whole lot of flying, man. All right, Wardo, draft and develop, baby. Yeah, I like the way you're thinking, and that does seem like a very Brad Holmes approach. Ed, what do you got? Good morning, Coach and Duke crew. My advice to Brad is, I guess we'll have to wait for it. Bo, I foresee a undrafted free agent rising to the forefront at cornerback. Deja vu all over again. Hey, let's hope it happens, man. Let's hopefully somebody has that kind of impact. Ed, stick to your plan. Aha, I see what you did there. And yeah, I don't think Brad's going to alter it. The loss of Sutton is noteworthy for sure, but I just think there's more and more evidence. They've been planning on this since free agency began, so they knew something. All right, Trump, I want us to draft a stud running back for insurance. Okay. Do you got anybody in mind? And what round would you take him in, Trumps? All right. Brent, I'm still hoping to get Stiggers. Yeah. He's I told you guys my thoughts on him. I did a video on him, 2-3 weeks ago. I like to get. I do think he's going to need some time to develop. And if you could have some of the older cornerbacks, kind of guide him along for a season or two, maybe help speed up the process, not put him on the field where he's getting, the one thing I'll say for oh gosh, what's his name? We traded Atlanta Falcons. He was number 3, Jeff Okuda. I just think, man, he got roasted. He was injured coming out of college. There was just a lot of things that went against him, unfortunately. And I'm just hoping that if we draft a corner, they're not thrown on the field right away. They're allowed some time to kind of develop. And if they will go that route, I don't think it'd be a bad one. All right, Eduardo, just trust in Brad and let them keep it moving. Yeah, 100%. That is all. I agree. Eduardo, but Edge should be first round. I think that's where here's what I'll say. Now, I know we've talked about it. I think there's less talent, impactful talent at that position. So if you're going to make a move specifically for that position, you're doing it in the first round. Offensive line, I mean, there's some real studs there in the 20s or latter part of the first round. But I don't think there's a huge drop off for that position at round 2. So if you went for end at the first round, I think you can still get real quality in the second round for offensive line, to your points. All right, Trump, hit that like. Only takes 2 seconds. Yeah, if you haven't yet subscribed or liked the video, please consider doing both. We're like 10 or so, 12, 15, whatever it is, subs away from hitting 6,200, and I have no idea what the likes are on the video. I can't see it from my end. You guys have more information on that than I do at this time. But if you would hit it, I'd be thankful. All right, JDC, draft the best medical conditioning staff available. I like it. And you know what? I'll say this for last year's staff. They kept the team pretty healthy, and they helped people recover much faster than I thought with some of the cases we would. Some of that's on the individual player. I mean, Graham Glasgow played through a broken everything or a banged up everything. I just don't think there's anything anybody was going to do to keep him off the field once the playoffs hit. But then you do look at C.J. Gardner-Johnson, his road to recovery, probably much faster than most people anticipated. James Houston took longer, but I'll stick to this. I know we talked about it during the season. I really think that the medical staff probably had him ready to go early in December, but because of how much bend he puts on that lower leg and the ankle, I think they were just being incredibly cautious with him because they didn't want that thing to injure. So food for thought. All right, Bo, stars and bars forever, Trump. All right, fair enough. Ed, I agree with O'Neill. Edge rusher should be first pick. And I think there will be some options there, especially if there are some reports or mock drafts or whatever you want to say that have 5 or 6 quarterbacks going in the first round, and a lot of them in the top 20. If that comes to fruition, there are 23 other picks, 22 other picks until Detroit's up. And think about, there's going to be some wide receivers. There's going to be some defensive ends or offensive line. I mean, you get it. There are going to be positions that are going to be loaded up on. I think the Lions are really in a pretty ideal spot to potentially either trade that pick or, there's more than likely somebody on a defensive end, offensive line, or cornerback, maybe even wide receiver, that will slip to us. We're probably going to get a pretty good player at that spot if we keep the pick. All right, Moonscar. Slowly creep the days until NFL Christmas when Brad Holmes brings us gifts of new hope and joy. Yeah, the draft, yeah, we're getting closer and closer every day, man. Trump's God bless America, love it or leave it. All right, we'll go with that. Almost sounds like you're quoting Vanilla Ice there. Love it or leave it. You can't wait. You better hit bullseye. Kid don't play. Yes, probably not where you're going, but hey, it made me think of it. JDC at Bo, yeah, thumbs up 100%. Bowtown Mitch, Lions' biggest need is probably edge, but it's close. I would like to see another cornerback draft of free agency, but if we need 2 more just to fill the roster, need 3 defensive end, however. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I think we all agree there's certain areas we'd like to see the Lions address. It's just going to come down to who we can get in free agency and potentially the draft. I can't wait for the draft, baby. Yeah, and I know I'm trying to think about what to do for the draft. I know last year I went live. The only problem is, man, there's so much downtime between picks. I don't know if I'll do that again. What I probably will do is just when the picks are happening, or maybe 15, 20 minutes before each pick, I'll jump on live and do some stuff. We can all react to it. And then, take a break, whatever, go have a Mountain Dew until the next pick, something like that. just because, man, it is especially, the first round isn't so bad because you're anticipating everybody's talking about those spots. But man, the second and third day, whew, that is a haul. All right, Ed, no reason to panic. Get a number 3 cornerback in the draft. Yeah, they could, man. And I think even if you draft a cornerback, that person better be ready to play real quick because the amount of depth we have at cornerback, assuming everybody's healthy, yeah, I think they're in pretty good shape, even if they don't address it right away. All right, Bo, will you be able to do a mock this Sunday, Dan? Yeah, that's the plan. I'm going to try to do it. Again, some things might be a little bit different. I mean, the thumbnail might be not as great because I don't know if I can get it all done on my laptop. But I'm going to do everything I can to, in it. Once we get into the video itself, I'm thinking 99% of it should be just like this. Might not have the lights or whatever, but I'll take as much stuff as I can carry because some of it I'm going to have to carry with me for a while. So don't want to overburden myself with backpack stuff too much. All right, Property Lord, good morning. Good morning to you too. Wardo, first round edge, second round guard, third round corner. I think everybody would probably live with that. Wardo, it's just best player available. Fortunately, we have Amik who has outside abilities. Yeah, he can play inside, he can play outside. Yeah, I'm with you. I think we've got some pretty good depth at the quarterback spot when everybody is healthy. Man Bear, what do you got? Good morning, Duke Crew. Rooney, all right. Duke Crew, Rooney, fair enough. And good morning to you too. Ed, do the mock on Sunday, please, if you can. Yeah, I'm going to do everything I can. Probably have to set a few more reminders on my phone or whatever just to make sure I get up at the right time, not the wrong time, but I'll get it handled, man. See, Trump's, they could surprise us and maybe happy with beats and with bets, yeah, in Houston and not draft a defensive end. Yeah, if they feel, to your point, if they really feel he's going to be a contributing impactor along with Davenport, along with Houston, maybe that other end side isn't as big a need as we are all anticipating. So to your point, they could go in completely different routes if they feel that's the case. We're all guessing right now and waiting to see, but I do think you're onto some. If they feel that any of them are ready to break out, they might not feel like the need to get someone in the first round. Betsy, yeah, I knew you were going with it, man. All right, Eduardo, Brad told you last year he doesn't care about reaching. He drafted a running back at 12. Yeah, he doesn't care. He's worried about one thing. What he perceives is going to make the biggest impact on the team. And that's the way it should be. Unfortunately, with a lot of teams and general managers, you feel like you got to get this spot. So you reach for a player. You draft somebody who's like a 7 out of 10 when you could have had somebody who was a 9 out of 10. It's just they're at a different position. So I'm a big fan. Just take the best players available, then figure out the X's and O's around them based on their strengths and weaknesses. All right, the non-laughers, morning, Dan Duke Crew. This snow sucks. Where you at, man, where it's snowing? Because, well, it's pretty dark out today, but at least right now, it doesn't look like there's any snow. All right, let's see. Bo, Man Bear, do you consider us a Motley Dew? Aha, there you go. One of my favorite bands as a kid, the Motley Crew. All right, Patrick, as much as I love Pepsi and Mountain Dew, I am a Faygo Cola and Moon Mist fan. No offense. None taken, man. Go with whatever works for you. I love the Dew. I love it from Circle K. I love it even more from a soon-to-be extinct. Like, I've really thought about getting a couple of 2 liters filled with it and freezing them and stuff. And they laughed when I talked to Bobby and everybody there about it because, like I said, to me, it just tastes different at that store. But they said, maybe if I was there on Wednesday, they'd let me go and just go ahead and do it. But they can't yet. And unfortunately, I won't be there for it. All right, Moonscar, what is that? Bo, we are way more of a Motley Crew. There we go. Trump's Clowney is a clown. Yeah, he's not what most people thought he was going to be coming out of college. I mean, not that he's had a bad career by any stretch, but he just wasn't that impact player that everybody thought. All right, Patrick, I don't think we really need another corner, but an edge or O-line. O-line for a good backup. Yeah, 100%. Philip McCracken, there you go. Bo, 1-year flyers are the thing in Brad's wheelhouse. Cleus or anyone else. Yeah, you can't build anybody else. Yeah, probably they'd be on a 1-year deal, not long-term commitments, nothing where the team would potentially run into issues if the player doesn't pan out. Trump's, how about Sue? Maybe that is a thought. Although, man, I don't think I've heard anything on him in a minute. So I don't know. Maybe he's done playing. Eduardo, options and opportunities. You are awesome. All right, fair enough. It's better to have options you don't need than need options you don't have. That's one thing I live by in life. All right, bus driver. Where do you see Branch playing? Do you think we need a cornerback 2 still? I thought Robertson was our new slot corner. If so, Branch, Iffy, and Kirby as our safety. That's the big question. It may just come down to that formation on that particular play. I think you're going to see a rotation of Branch, Iffy, and Kirby as the safety. So more likely you're adding one more player to that group, maybe 2 more just for depth purposes. But also you look across the room at the cornerback spot. I think there's going to be a lot of flexibility in interchanging parts with these guys because Iffy, as we all know, used to be a corner. He can cover real well. Kirby too, although I would say I think Iffy covers better than Kirby in man. That's why usually Kirby's the single high safety when we go man just for help coverage. He's best in that role from what I've observed. So I do think you're still going to add 1 or 2 more parts via the draft or free agency to the secondary, but who's going to play where? If you had to ask me right now, I'm sticking to Davis as your cornerback 1, Mosley as your cornerback 2 when he is healthy, and then that's where it gets really a question mark. Is Robertson going to be your slot, and then you move Branch to safety? Are you going to go with 4 corners on the field a lot of the time, which I do think there will be, I don't know, 40% of the time you'll probably see that along with 2 safeties. So whatever they're going to do, they're going to have a lot of flexibility and ability to adjust to other teams. So I like that because last year that wasn't always the case. Now, Kong, Super Bowl or bust, 1,000%. Thank you for that. Hopefully you're having a great morning, my friend. JDC, Trump's genius. I like Sue. Cheddar's not so much. All right. There you go. Joseph, you still think the Lions lied? In what regards? About knowing about it? Probably. You know, they probably knew about it I think I've said it before, like 10, 12, 15 hours after everything was reported to local law enforcement. So I'll just put it this way. On March 7th, probably by 5 or 6 p.m. that evening, they were already working on this. That would be my anticipation just based on being around pro sports, either as a reporter or as a coach or whatever. There's just, to me, it would be a huge mystery why they wouldn't have known about it, since you have typically 3 to 5 people, especially at something like the NFL's level. They have a room and they are all over this stuff on a daily basis, looking and scanning for anything that could potentially impact not just the NFL, but in this case, the Detroit Lions. And that's for anybody on the medical staff, the front office, the coaching staff, the players. This is all these guys do. They are like Terminators. When they show up for work, they are constantly scanning for anything across the nation, or I guess just we could say social media, that will impact potentially in a negative fashion the team. All right, Great Lakes, what do you got? Ben Glover, get Glover Quinn out of retirement? Maybe, man. Let's see. Good morning, by the way. When will Mosley be ready approximately? I'm guessing probably late July, maybe early August. So let's assume that I'm somewhat correct with that. There's no chance he plays in the preseason. I'd be incredibly shocked. But they're going to put him through stuff throughout training camp. They're going to try to get him ready. And if he is ready, it would be my anticipation, assuming he knocks the rust off and everything, he's probably your cornerback 2. And that when that happens, you got just a ton of flexibility in that secondary. Trump, did Jeff Okudah sign? Not that I'm aware of, but I really haven't paid attention to him. All right, Bird Time. I do like Simmons as well. Yeah, he's not bad, man. Not bad at all. Robert, do crew! Exclamation points. Thank you for that. Hopefully have a great morning. Jimmy Ray would have got what's wrong with Gilmore, brother. I thought he did good in preseason last year, and he should be developing. He should be. And if he, to your point, if he ends up or has developed, I should say, now you have even more depth in that secondary and somebody who's a little bit younger as well. So I don't think the Lions are in a hurry to sign anybody at this point. They might not even feel like they need to draft anybody. It could really just come down to the draft. who is the best player at this particular spot, regardless of position. That's who we take. Great Lakes. Yes. Okay. Okuda signed with Texans. Okay. Like I said, I haven't really paid attention to Def Jeff. So wherever he's gone, it's a mystery to me. I just haven't paid attention. All right. Bo, the longer the Josh Reynolds thing goes, the more it looks like Donovan Peoples-Jones is taking that spot. Yeah, I would agree. And I know they got the rookie Green that I think he's going to be in the mix as well. So Josh Reynolds, I get it. He wants to get paid, maybe more of an opportunity to have a larger role with the team. So I get it, man. This is probably the last contract he's going to be able to negotiate. So let him go after it. Bo, what do you got? Antonio Green is going to make some noise. I believe so too. And he's got some wheels. Wardo, let's see. Good riddance to Reynolds. Yeah. He was a great Lion, but it sounds like he just wants to go in a different direction. Although who knows? Maybe the team told him we're not resigning you. Wardo, Superdome or bust 1,000%. Patrick, is it July yet? I'm ready for training camp to start 100%. And once we get past that draft, man, now that's the one real dead spot in the NFL season. I mean, I get you get OTAs, but that is what it is. We're all pumped for free agency. We're all pumped for the draft. And then you got a couple months until training camp. It is what it is, man. Michael Green's salutations and Duke Crew 100% to Coach and Duke Crew. And thanks for that, Michael. Hopefully you have an outstanding morning. Wardo, if we draft a wide receiver, it better come with a one-way ticket to California. Him and Goff need to build chemistry. Yeah. I wonder how quickly Goff would be all over that. So Southwest Line, good morning all. And Antoine Green is only in year 2. He's big and fast. I wouldn't give up on him just yet. No, and we shouldn't. We often talk on the show, and I know it's normally about Broderick Martin, but not every player is ready to go the moment you get them. Some take a season or two to develop, and he could be easily that one. He's got the raw stuff, the stuff you can't teach. He's got the size. He's got the wheels. Now you just need to polish up the skills, the teachable moments. Donkey Kong. It's freaking Brad's best player available. That's a draft choice. Exclamation points. Simple as that. I would agree with it, man. 100%. Bus driver, Triple Genius. He signed with the Texans. Very good. Eduardo, coach, would you rather coach college or pro? Whew. I mean, there's pluses and minuses to both. Having worked at both levels, and I don't really know, man. And to me, there's probably less and less of a difference between the two levels that's emerging. The only real difference, in my opinion, nowadays is, there's just the maturity level of the people, the life situations, maybe I should say, that it confronts the players. Just because when you're talking about college people, you're talking typically anybody from, on average, 18 to 22, maybe 23 years old. That's probably your core base. Where they're at in life versus a 28, 29, 30-year-old is vastly different. I mean, we all get that. Most of us have been through it. And to me, I guess there really wouldn't be a difference. I'd take either job if it was the right job. All right, Matthew, what do you got? Aleem was on the long show the other day. He says Hooker is the real deal. That's I know that I seen that pop up where he was on the Long Sons show. I haven't watched it yet. Maybe I'll watch it today at the gym or something before we take off. But you get more and more players that are talking about it. That's further kind of seems to line up what we've been talking about on the show for a while. I do think there is a real opportunity. The Detroit Lions aren't going to re-sign Jared Goff until they see Hendon Hooker perform in some preseason games. And that's nothing against Jared Goff. I think he's done nothing but great things for this franchise. I think it's just purely a business decision. There's a difference between Jared Goff, the quarterback, Jared Goff, the story, and the business side of things. If they really feel like, to your point, Matthew, that maybe the players and coaches, the front office all say, man, Hooker is the real McCoy, then they're going to want to see further evidence supporting that in preseason games. And if that all shakes out, there could be a potential opportunity where the Lions say, this is Jared Goff's season, the last one on his contract. Let's see where it goes before they make a choice what to do with the future. So unfortunately, I know we usually get into that we all have different feelings on that when it comes to a quarterback versus almost any other position. But I'll also say in sports and coaching or front office management, you cannot do that. You cannot get emotionally invested into players because at some point you may have to pull the trigger to send somebody out of town or release them from their contract. If you get too into your feelings about that particular person, now you're worried about their family, their kids, and everything, and that's going to affect your ability to make a sound judgment for the team. All right, Jimmy Ray, what do you got? I want Josh Cart in the draft. Fair enough. We'll see what we can do. Kurt Steele, what up, though? Do crew, 100%. Good morning to you, my friend. Hopefully, you're gonna have an outstanding morning. Eduardo, today is the Michigan Pro Day. Y'all think Brad is there? If not, the Lions probably do have representation there, especially since it's only like an hour drive away from their facilities. Fields, what do you got? And Brad, we trust 100%. Eduardo, 20 years. That's a while. It is, man. It is, man. All right. Trump's, for Circle K. Yeah, it took me 20 years. But yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. I'm going to miss that place, man. There's no better hot dogs in all the world than the roller grilled hot dogs at the Circle K. All right, Trump's, get Bobby a t-shirt. That's actually not a bad idea. I will probably have to do that for her. I got her a little gift, and same with Kathy and John, some of the people that have worked there for probably close to those 20 years. But yeah, I might have to go and get them all a Duke Crew t-shirt. I know where some of them are going next for employment. I also know where Bobby's going, so maybe I'll just go and drop them off. Great idea, though. Burger time. Gotta love March Madness. Woo! 100%. And, it's like very few other things in sports, watching the stuff shake out. I still know a lot of the different coaches at different levels around here. And I get most of you might not know this, but GVSU and Ferris State, their women's teams played a couple days ago. GVSU, one of the top ones in the country. Not that Ferris isn't, but Ferris pulled off probably what most consider maybe not quite the Oakland versus Kentucky style upset, but they pulled off a huge upset to advance to the Elite Eight. All right, Robert, believe in Hooker? Yes, always believe in your local hookers. All right, Eduardo, Brad will bring us the defensive rookie of the year. Don't worry. There's a lot of belief that he could do something like that. Willard, the Lions are in a good place right now. The Lions need to be like Gumby. Just be flexible. Yeah, just be flexible, and I'll go with that. Great Lakes, 20 years. That's a lot of Mountain Dew. You must have a great dental plan. Hey, man, I have one a day every day. Just make sure you brush your teeth, take care of it, floss, all that stuff. But yeah, I can't imagine life without the morning dew. Robert, Goff is Gumby. There you go. A little flexible. Phil, good morning. Good morning to you, Philly. Hopefully, an outstanding morning. Lions, Southwest. You got Dan with Cam Sutton. The report says that he fled the scene after allegedly committing domestic battery. Is there evidence from any witnesses that it was Sutton who fled the scene? Not that I'm aware of, and I don't remember the person's name in the show yesterday, studying to be a CSI investigator, and they had a thought because nobody did actually see him there other than the victim, allegedly. And now you've had multiple weeks where nobody's been able to locate him or speak to him. As far as we're known, I know from my former profession, that would be a little bit of a warning flag. I would really be wanting to talk to that victim a little bit more, because in today's day and age, everybody here probably gets it. It's hard to stay off the radar for a couple of days, let alone a couple of weeks. Now, without going into it, are there ways to do it? 100%. You could still be on the system without using your devices. But the longer this thing plays out, it does seem that there's a somewhat growing belief that maybe we don't know all the facts of this case just yet. And that's why I've been saying hold out judgment, because the longer this holds out where Sutton's just not around, I just hope the guy is okay. Him, his family, the alleged victim, all of them. All right, JDC, Willard McDaniel, thankful they aren't pokey. There you go. Trump, both our running backs missed time last year. Draft another stud running back. We are in great position. Yeah, and I know they brought back Craig Reynolds and Knight. So, yeah, could they potentially look to upgrade the third spot like you suggested? 1,000%, man. Eduardo, let's go Lions. I'll agree with that all day long. Bo, how early would you draft a running back? Me or maybe like third, fourth round, something like that. Obviously, fourth round, we're going to have a trade to get one of those picks, but somewhere around there. Phil, is Stephen Gilmore ready to play? That's the question we're all going to have to wait for probably preseason to get an answer. Now, he did not do a bad job at all during last year's preseason. How much has he matured since then and grown? The only way to find out is to see him in live combat, basically. Southwest, Brent, I wonder how high Stickers will go in the draft. I'm going to say, maybe like mid second round, third round, somewhere around there. Trump's round 3, fair enough. I'm thinking you're talking about running back. Phil, have fun in Cancun. We're going to give it a go, man. Let's see, Eduardo. Let's see if he has higher upside. Oh wait, it's Kirby. If he has higher upside, played better. Fair enough. Bo, do you have a running back in mind? Michigan running back. So Blake Corum. Okay. Southwest, don't bankrupt your future to get Crosby. Yeah, I think you'd have to give up a whole lot to get him. All right, Kurt, LOL, Max Crosby is not leaving the Raiders. No, I wouldn't think so, man. But I know everybody's been talking, well, not everybody, but there's been more and more chatter about it. So in order to pry him away from them, though, I think you'd have to just give up a boatload to make that happen. Southwest, right? I don't see that happening either. Yeah, I concur. Miles, good morning, Coach. Are you coming north? No, going south. Very south. Very south. Let's see. Bo, Brad Holmes is not going to break the bank on anyone. If he gets Crosby, you can bet he makes a good deal. Yeah, and we'll see if that happens, man. All right, Fred, good morning, Coach and crew. Anyone traveling 131 between Kansas and Grand Rapids, heads up. It's a bit of a mess. Uh-oh, something happened. Thankfully, I don't have to go that way today. Not today, at least. All right, Don Kong. Anyone going to the Tigers game April 26th before the NFL draft? Ooh, that's a good question. That would be not a bad place to meet up because Tiger games are usually pretty decent, pretty laid back too. All right, we need that kicker out of Stanford. Yeah, I could see the Lions potentially going after him in the later rounds. So for sure, try to add some competition to the kicking room. Matthew Grace, Max won't be coming here unless something goes sideways in Vegas. He was the big voice that got the coach made the permanent, head coach, that got him hired basically. Yeah, players all seem to like playing for Antonio. So I think, are they really going to trade Max Crosby? I mean, everybody's got a price. That's one thing you learn early as a kid from WWE and the $1 Million Man. Everybody's got a price. It's just, what is it? And I just don't think the Lions in the front office are going to be willing to give up that type of price to the Raiders to acquire Max Crosby. But stranger things have happened. Southwest Lion, will they be giving St. Brown and his extension before training camp? I believe, somewhere in the spring, this summer, they'll get that all worked out. Non-con Saint may never get an extension. It's possible they don't, sure. But I think he is Mr. Lion. I think he's young enough and impactful enough where he's probably getting it. But who knows, man? Brad Holmes is his own person. Maybe he says, now we're just going to draft a replacement. I just tend to think they're going to extend St. Brown. All right, Southwest, you can't let the core players go every time they are about to get a payday. Jonah Jackson, I understand. I think the Rams overpaid. I would agree. I think the Rams did overpay. Plus, to your point, Southwest, if you constantly don't retain players that you draft, now you're going to bring up a situation where maybe players don't always want to sign with Detroit because, man, they're just going to get rid of me. Now, it's different from free agents and drafted players, but I'm going to guess St. Brown, he'll be a Lion. Eduardo, LOL, Donkey, you are all over the place. Fair enough. Yep. What round do you think that kicker from Stanford will go? Probably 5th, 6th, or 7th, somewhere right around there. Probably more towards 6th and 7th. I mean, he's got a leg. To me, I'm not wasting a 1st or 2nd or 3rd on a kicker, even though I get, Jason Hansen was a 2nd rounder. And you know what? Wayne Fonts, he drafted a kicker. I remember everybody gave him grief for that, but that kicker was around for multiple coaches, and nobody was trying to get rid of him once he was here. All right, Bo, what do you got? The big bonus up front for Sun God. That might be the thing. There you go. Front load the contract. Gabriel, we need to sign another quarterback. We might, man. Southwest, Bo, yep. All right, Ransom, Lions will stay unpredictable throughout the draft. Remember last year, we have no idea what Brad is thinking and doing. This is correct. Yeah, he's not going to let anybody know. There's probably, my estimation, there's probably one other person that really has sound information what they're going to do. I have not much doubt that he doesn't really inform the coaching staff and some of their subordinates what's going on, because the more people that know, more opportunity the information gets out. So probably one other person has that level of detailed information. All right, JDC Magic 8 Ball says the 2024 Detroit Lions will tackle. I like the way you're thinking. Donkey Kong, let's see. To me, Saint is awesome and amazing, and I love him, but he's a slot guy, so I'll understand if Holmes decides 26, 27 million is just too steep for that. All right, okay, we'll go with that, man. Gabriel, unless you grab Clowney on free agency for another pass rusher. Yeah, is it possible? Sure. But I know a couple of you brought it up. Could we already just have the guys here with Betts, Houston, et cetera, Davenport, and just say, hey, we're good enough there? It's possible. All right, Aaron, what do you got? Good morning, Dan, on wedding holiday from India. All right, well, happy wedding holiday to you, and hopefully you're having a great time. I still think we should go edge or guard with the first. Still like Blake Corum if we can get him in the second or third round. Yeah, I could see it probably more in the third, but I mean, if they end up taking him in the second round, because our second round pick's almost the third, I guess it would make sense. Broski, Clowney had a nice bounce back season last year. He did, man. He did. I just think where he's at overall, do you go for him? I mean, who knows, man. Patrick, Brad Holmes has a knack for finding outstanding players, edge or wide receiver or offensive line from lesser known schools, and they work out great. Yeah, him in the scouting department. You know, we've talked about it for a while. What they do here in Detroit, they earn their checks. They do a great job, and I know that's why some of them are being signed by other teams. Was it like a month or so ago? We were talking about the second lead head scout for the Detroit Lions, person in charge of draft scouting assignments for the Lions, was targeted by, I want to say it was like 3 other teams. And so I get it. When you're good at it, other teams take notice, especially if they're not good at it, and they try to acquire people to help them out. Ransom, who here thought Detroit would draft running back tight end last year? Probably not many, especially where we did. Eduardo, the Lions won't even pick up like 11 p.m. unless Brad trades up. Yeah, their first round pick. Yeah, it'll be pretty late in the day unless he does trade up. That is correct. Eduardo, it's Broski Bear. It is. Jeff, the Sutton release could be a blessing in disguise. It could be, man. I get some people are saying he didn't have a great season last year, and the second half of the season did not go well for him. Some of that is, I believe he was playing out of position as a cornerback number one. The other part is the turf toe injury that he battled through. So, there's some definite reasons. I think he's much better suited as a 2 or 3 cornerback wise. All right, Southwest, isn't Tyreek Hill a slot receiver? He got paid. He did, and he is explosively fast. All right, Gabriel, they will trade up and select a corner. Fair enough. Broski Barrow, will this be Amar-Ra's last season Lions? Question mark. I think so. Maybe. Let's see, Matthew. If we trade with Carolina top 3 for top 3, then maybe we get an edge and O-line pick we want. Carolina may go for it if they don't have a first, since they don't have a first, if they want the 5th-year option. Agreed. I think if one of those quarterbacks, I know we've talked about it ad nauseum, if one of those quarterbacks fall to basically the Lions at 29, I think you're going to have a few teams make offers with Detroit to try to acquire that number 29 overall pick so they can select that quarterback just for, as you suggest, the 5th-year option. Bo, Saint is trade bait, maybe. I don't think he's leaving, man. But maybe somebody makes a trade offer and the Lions do decide to go in a different direction. The non-laughers, Big Rapids, all right. Big Rapids getting some snow. All right, Broski, snow is terrible. It can be, man. Gabriel, snowing in Grand Blanc already has been since 6 a.m. That's a great movie, by the way. Phil, buy the machine. that would be the idea, Phil. Yeah, maybe buy the Mountain Dew machine and then get the supplier to send the stuff directly to me. A Ransom, coming from Saginaw to Flint, plenty of snow coming down. Okay. Yeah, well, now that it's getting a little bit lighter out, I can see that there is some snow out there, but it looks from at least here just like a dusting here so far. Let's see, Broski, Clowney has never had a double-digit sack season. No, and he's not been bad. He just hasn't been great. And I think that's what everybody was expecting him to be great when he came out, but people don't always live up to their hype. Let's see, Great Lakes. Broski is just talking smack on St. Brown. If he wants north of 26 million, you might be right. Yeah, if his demands are too high, it is a business at the end of the day. You might have to move on. Motor City 45. Hey, to the Duke crew. I think the Lions should go with edge the 29th pick and the second round, trade up high enough in the second round to grab a defensive tackle. Yeah, I know I've said I'd like Sweat. I know some of you guys have thrown some other people out there. I just really like the idea of having Sweat out there at defensive tackle along with DJ Reader and the Lee McNeil. Also Broderick Martin, because you know what you got there? You got a ton of size and athleticism, and I like that scenario. Lions talk with the bad guy, John Gabler. Happy Friday, all. Go Lions. Back at you, my friend. JDC, just enough snow here to cover the brown until the green arrives. Fair enough. The non-laughers, I don't think Sue or Clowney are a fit with this team. No, I would say you're probably onto something there. Ransom, Detroit has plenty of needs still. Anything is possible. Defensive end, offensive line, cornerback, safety, and wide receiver in no certain order. Best player available. I'll say this, since you guys have brought it up with St. Brown, if the Lions take a wide receiver in the first round, that could potentially be a strong indication maybe St. Brown is on borrowed time here. So see what happens. All right, Broski, Great Lakes and Michigan Lions will have to choose between Goff and Amon-Ra. This is the last season under contract for both. No way they resign both, and they will most likely resign Goff. It's possible, man. It is possible for sure. I guess we'll wait and see what shakes out with the front office, what they choose to do. All right, the non-laughers don't think either guy is, quote, a team guy. Yeah. Broski, so this is Amon-Ra's farewell tour? Maybe. It could be, man. Matthew, the ratio of syrup to carbonation are what changed the flavor. Ask your gal at Circle K if she can find out the ratio they use there, and maybe you can get your two plays to change those settings. That might not be a bad idea to see if I can get the next Circle K to augment their settings on that just for me. That would be a sign of pull that I have there. Miles, what do you got? When trying to locate someone, please always contact the employer. They do, and I'm sure they did. I'm sure the Lions weren't able to. Yeah, we'll see what shakes. Broski, Dan has discovered the fountain of youth. It's the Mountain Dew machine at the local Circle K. Amazing. Yeah, and I'm going to miss that place a ton, man. I'm going to have to drive an extra like 5 or 8 minutes to get to the next Circle K around here. Bo, Mosley for Christmas. Could be, man. Could be. Mile marker Holmes, so probably knew 10 plus days ago. Yes, I would agree that he probably knew within hours, at the most half a day after the news or the situation arose in Florida. Broski, if Mosley's your cornerback too, this will definitely be a long season for you. I like Mosley, man. I think he covers very well, and he's physical, especially man-to-man. Now, is he going to be in the cornerback number 2? I don't know, because he's been out for 2 years. He's going to have to shake off some rust, but all will be revealed in time. All right, Detroit D, greens and salutations, everyone. Back at you. Let's see, Great Lakes, maybe Broski, depends on how much Goff settles for. 40 million might be okay. 45 plus for him. Amon-Ra might be gone. The draft could be telling if both stay or go. This is also true. And I know we were talking about it earlier in the show. Maybe there is more and more evidence that Hooker is something. Again, I'm going to wait until I see him in preseason games before I make any kind of personal judgment, because I would expect players on your own team to say, man, he looks awesome. He looks awesome. I would hate it. And the team would hate it too if somebody came out and said, man, that dude looked terrible. I don't know what we're doing. Hopefully we draft somebody to be the backup now, today. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get going. I got to get finished packing, get to the gym, to the Circle K, say goodbye to everybody before they shut that thing down, at least as far as I'm concerned. If there's some breaking news today, I'm going to be probably limited to get it to you. Maybe if I'm in the airport and I can do something great. But otherwise, I'll see you guys all in tomorrow's Lions Talk Live morning show. If you haven't yet subscribed, please consider doing so. Also, hit that thumbs up button. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you all in the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.